Alright, broadcast start. Hello, everybody. We'll be starting.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, the yawning. Oh, man. There it goes. Hey, an error occurred. Please try again. Alright. There's my sleepy-looking self. Okay.
Alright. Posting me some invites.
Do the social media dance.
Mm-hmm.
From Hyrule Warriors, man, I'm almost done, but the last few levels are getting harder,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of them are you're not gonna do it your first try. Last night I was on a level for like an hour and a half. Okay, 6 o'clock. Got the stopwatch ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. What episode is this?
That would be good to know.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like, hi everybody, welcome to... where are we? Who are we? Okay, here we go. Hello everyone, and welcome to Super Podcast Action Committee, episode 119. Andrew Eisen here, along with E. Zachary Knight. Hello, Zachary.
Hello, everybody.
I'm tired. Are you tired, Zachary?
Oh, yeah, I'm tired, too.
You're probably tired from physical labor. I'm tired from playing video games, which is a nice thing to be tired from.
Yeah. Is it physically possible to get tired from playing video games?
Yes. Yes. Good Lord, yes. I wrote the guide for Monster Hunter. That took me like 7 weeks. Hyrule Warriors, I think I'm on like week 5 here, but I'm almost done. That is a dense damn game. I remember we were talking about the DLC for that game a few weeks ago, and is it worth $20 for the season pass? Although Nintendo's not actually calling it a season pass. Yeah. One of the things in the DLC that comes with the first bit of downloadable content that released a couple days ago is a brand new adventure map, which is the thing I'm working through now, which is that 8x16 grid.
Yeah.
So 128 new missions.
Wow.
Hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of fun. So, yeah, I'd say, and plus you get Link's horsey pony as a weapon and new costumes. The 3 new characters, the 3 villain characters, Sia, Wizro, and Volga, were free. I've got them. They all start on level 1, which kind of sucks, because all my characters are up near level 60. And you can't get any of their good weapons unless you get the DLC and play through the new adventure mode.
So you said, what were the 3 characters? You got Wizrobe and who else?
Wizro, Sia, who's new to the series, and Volga, who's new to the series. Volga's a dragon knight, a human, but he can turn into a dragon. And Sia is a sorceress with a funny hat.
Yeah.
Hello, Nestor. So, but I've, because I do the stream on Wednesday night, I played a few other things, although the people watching the stream couldn't watch it because the damn stream kept crashing. I played the Bayonetta 2 demo, and the folks watching my stream got to see the first few minutes of it. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm having a great time playing the demo. I'm like, oh, this neat stuff is happening, and people are watching this jagged, pixelated mess. And they're like, well, it sounds like Andrew's having fun.
Yeah. So was the Bayonetta 2 demo, or is that a lot of fun?
I thought so, yeah. It's actually kind of difficult because the dodge button is one of the triggers, and in Hyrule Warriors, the dodge button, I think, is the B button. It's one of the face buttons. So I kept hitting, I think, in Bayonetta B is jump. So I kept jumping every time I wanted to dodge, and I just kind of jump right into a sword. I jumped right into that fist. Yeah. But I managed to make it through the demo on my first try. It managed not to kill me. And
how much content was in the demo?
12 minutes worth, maybe.
So not a big demo at all, huh?
No, but I think it does a really great job of showing you this is what the game is. I think you play that 12 minutes, you're like, okay, this is stupid, or yeah, I'm on board. Because you start, Matthew, yes, I will be trying OBS this week.
What's OBS?
OBS is a different broadcaster. I've been using XSplit and having nothing but trouble. I've been doing a lot of tests offline, and I've had no problems, so maybe it's the broadcaster and not my capture software. Kind of hard to say, so we'll try a new broadcaster this week and see how it goes. Anyway, the Bayonetta demo, you fight a bunch of angel monsters on the back of a fighter jet. I don't know why Bayonetta's riding the back of a fighter jet. I don't know who's piloting it or where they're going, but who cares?
Why they're piloting it through a swarm of monsters?
Or a city, yeah. So you fight a bunch of monsters on the back of a jet flying through a city. Then you jump off and you land on the back of a subway train that's on a bridge going across somewhere while some big monster chases you. And then you end up fighting up the side of a building while some giant dog monster chases you up the side of the building. And then you get to the top of the building and you fight on the top of the building, kind of like the King Kong bit at the end of King Kong. And then you knock off the building and you fight while you're falling off the building. So it's crazy, and it's one of those things. It's like, is this like the end of the game? Does it get more absurd? I mean, because that's pretty over the top to start with, you know.
Yeah.
You have to wonder. It reminds me of like movie trailers. Like you see the movie trailer for Weekend at Bernie's, and you're like, that looks hilarious. You go see the movie, and it's like, oh, everything that's funny is in the trailer. Shoot. So.
Yeah.
But Bayonetta.
So did you know there's
getting some
did you know there's a Bayonetta anime?
Yeah. It's got the word fate in it.
Bloody Fate. Yeah, Bloody Fate. Huh? Looks interesting.
Yeah, I'll check it out because I'm new to Bayonetta, so I'll be playing the first one and the second one, and I'll check out the anime if I can. Played Five Nights at Freddy's, and I really like that game. I think that's a lot of fun and really well done as far as a good spooky atmosphere goes.
It's a horror game?
Yeah, it's a horror game. You are trapped in a room. Well, you're paid to be there because you're the night watchman. Although I don't know what you're supposed to be doing. All you're doing is trying to survive the night. So you are the night watchman at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza place, which is kind of like Chuck E. Cheese's or Showbiz Pizza. In that it's a pizza joint for kids. It has these animatronic characters on stage that perform. And so you're there from midnight to 6 a.m., and the animatronic characters get off the stage and try to come get you. And you have to keep an eye on them via the security monitors, and when they get right outside your door, you got to shut the door so they can't come in. But you can't just leave your doors closed, because closing the door uses up power, and if all the power is gone, then you're a sitting duck.
Huh.
So the game is you sitting there checking the security cameras, trying to keep an eye on 4 different animatronic characters that are wandering around a place, and when they get close, shut the door. Otherwise, they pop in and go, ah! And you go, ah! It's jump scare the game. And it's actually really effective. It's really well done. I like it. And what else did I play? Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is a lot closer to D&D than I thought it would be, which makes me happy because I'm an old school 2nd edition guy. So I played that a little bit on the stream, and One of the first, kind of like in Alien, you wake up in your underwear from a cryopod, although your character's laying on the bed. And a guy just barges into your room, which he has the security code for no explained reason. And I'm like, hi, yeah, sleeping here in my underoos. Would you mind knocking first? He's like, get dressed, we gotta go. It's like, no, I'm fine the way I am. And what's cool about the game is it doesn't force you to. You can go out, run around in your underwear if you want. Your defenses can be very, very low, but
of course,
you know, I'm comfortable wandering around in my underoos. Aren't you? So played the game wandering around in my underwear for most of the time, which was a lot of fun. So
yeah.
Other
The
than
game's
that,
smart enough for people to recognize that you're in your underwear.
No. Everyone is very tolerant and accepting of my clothing choices. No one bats an eye. So what about you? Anything interesting this week?
Let's see. This week I played Monaco. I played a few levels of it actually this morning. It's a fun game. It's a heist game. You know, you play as one of four characters, like a locksmith. I was playing the locksmith most of the time. I'm trying to remember what the other characters were.
What game is it again?
Monaco. I got it on a Humble Bundle recently. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, there's four characters actually. You know, you unlock a fifth one like in one of the first couple of levels, but there's four characters, and each of them has a specific ability. And you initially you're breaking out of prison, and then you go through a bunch of missions, and I've gotten through four of them so far. So I escaped from prison. I found the mole, a guy who can dig, then I stole a security van or some kind of van, and then I went and stole some passports so that I could escape Monaco. And I'm slowly working my way through. And the game is it's a kind of retro style look. Each character is mainly identified by the color that they are. Mm-hmm. You just go through the locksmith, the character I was playing. He blue, and he can unlock doors and hack computers and that. And so I haven't tried playing any other characters, so I don't know how if the missions are different or what they do. But the game is designed to be played as a four-player online, like multiplayer game, where all four players are working together, I think. But it does have that single-player component as well, so that's what I've been doing, because I don't know three people who could sit down and play a four-player with me at the same time. So that was that was one game I was playing today, and the other one. I was just looking at some of the games that people have made with Hakes Flixel. It's the programming, or it's the game API that I'm using for my game development. And I found somebody made a game called Cardinal Quest 2, which is very similar to Quest of Dungeons that I played last week. It's a roguelike game, and it's not too bad. So I played a couple of levels of that earlier today as well. But most of my week has been spent catching up on Arrow, the TV show about Green Arrow. Mm-hmm. And because I learned about the Flash TV show earlier this year, and I was really looking forward to that. And people are saying that Arrow actually was pretty good. Like I brushed it off at first because I was just like, this is just a Batman show without Batman in it. They use Green Arrow instead of Batman. But I brushed it off the first season, or the first couple of seasons. But then people said that it got really good, so I binge watched the first two seasons the past couple of weeks, and then got caught up on season 3 yesterday, and it is really good. They have some they really use the villains well in that, and the stakes actually do get pretty high. So like the first season, like the season ends with half the city getting destroyed by an earthquake machine. So it's like, so that was really crazy. And then the second season didn't end on as big of a cliffhanger, but still pretty interesting. Stuff that you really wanted to see what happened at the end of that. But they got Deathstroke in there and Deadshot, and let's see what other. Captain Vertigo. That was an interesting take on that. If you're familiar with the comic books, Captain Vertigo has the ability to shoot some kind of wave or whatever that makes you really dizzy and want to puke.
I remember the power. I don't remember the character very well.
Yeah. Well, the character is just kind of bland and just hardly memorable. It's just his ability that's really memorable. But in the TV show, they're kind of they're trying to keep things somewhat realistic, and instead of whatever beam or whatever he used, it's just a drug called Vertigo, and Count Vertigo was just the guy who invented the drug.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Canary in it?
Huh?
Is Black Canary in it?
Yeah, there was Black Canary in there, and she also, they changed up her. She doesn't have the natural superpower of shooting out her thing. Yeah, she uses a little sonic device that shoots out a sonic wave that basically does the same thing. But yeah, so. I was kind of hoping that, because the second season kind of ties in with the beginning of Flash, the start of the Flash series, where the Flash gets his superpower, and the Flash TV show, there's a big explosion at a particle collider, and which gives Barry his superpowers, and then also superpowers up a bunch of villains and stuff for him.
Oh, it's Barry Allen and this Flash?
Yeah, it's Barry Allen.
Oh, okay.
But I was kind of hoping that they would tie that back into Arrow, because create some supervillains there, and maybe like the Black Canary gets zapped by the same particle collider stuff while holding her box and gets
tweeting her dog whistle. She accidentally swallows it.
Yeah, it's like something that combines her powers, but instead they kill her off, and yeah. Well, the thing.
I'm sure she'll get better.
Oh no, they're going to be using her sister to Canary, which at least that's what season 3 is alluding to. In the comic books, Black Canary was Diana Lance, and then later on her daughter takes up the mantle. Laurel Lance she takes up the mantle, and so instead of the mother-daughter thing, they're going with sisters.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been watching, and the Flash is really good. I like the Flash.
I've heard it's good.
Yeah, well, Arrow is it kind of keeps things on the grim and dark side of comic books, while the Flash is leaning more towards the cheesy, fun type of comic action, and which is good because the Flash has always been one of those characters that he's very very comical in the way he uses his powers and fights his villains and stuff, and so they're putting it on the lighter side of things, which is good. But going back to something, Matthew asked, he says that I'm surprised I'm not using Unity, and the reason I don't use Unity is, one, I'm mainly working on 2D games right now, and I heard Unity, while it has fairly decent 2D capabilities, it's not as good as the 3D stuff, and makes it a little more difficult to use things. But And then two, they don't have a native Linux development tool for it, which I use Linux as my operating system. So I'm using Hakes-Flixel, which is built right out of the gate for 2D games and has excellent Linux support. So, but that's been my week.
Cool. All right, well, we've got some stuff to talk about on the show today, and first up is this week's poll, which asked, do you want a PlayStation TV? Actually, it just said PlayStation TV. Do you want it, don't want it, or don't know what it is? And we had 131 people vote, and 27% want the PlayStation, want or have the PlayStation TV, because it came out earlier in the week.
Yeah.
39% said I don't want it, and 34% said I don't know what it is.
Which isn't surprising, to be honest.
I can't say I'm particularly surprised because I consider myself a particularly savvy gamer. You know, my fingers on the pulse of the game industry. I have no idea what the hell the PlayStation TV. I mean, I have a kind of an idea what it is, but it just confuses me. I look at them like it, but why would I want it? What does it do that I can't already do with the stuff I have?
Yeah. What it is...
You can play the games you already have.
Yeah. Well, what it is it's basically a PlayStation Vita, but as a console instead of a handheld. So it's the Vita hardware with and it just plugs directly into your TV and accesses your PlayStation Network library. Most of your Vita games are compatible with it, and I believe PlayStation Network games that you can play on like your PlayStation 1, PlayStation Classics, and PSN games and stuff are all
now,
playable.
There was already a connection between the Vita and the PlayStation 3. What was that? Just most of the games are cross-buy, or?
I think they had some cross-buy stuff, but I believe they also had remote play. Where, if you're on the same network that your PlayStation 3 is on, you can remote play your games. That's also built into the PS4 as well. The remote play with the PlayStation Vita. But yeah, as Nestor said,
meaning that you could play your Vita games on your TV through your PS3. PS4?
No, you could play your PS3 and PS4 games
with the Vita as a controller. Oh no, okay.
Kind of like how Wii U off TV play is. Yeah.
Okay, so functionality that I don't understand why anyone would ever want. Got it. I don't understand. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I don't understand why I want off TV play. I've got a really nice TV. Of course, I live alone.
Yeah, you live alone, and I think that's one of the things. But it's like say you're playing you're playing your PlayStation 3 game, and then you really have to go take a dump. And you're like, but I don't want to stop playing this game. So you get your Vita out, turn on remote play, and then you go in your bathroom and play while you're taking a dump. Yeah.
No one will ever use your Vita again. I play with that while I'm taking a dump. Oh, geez, okay. I will buy my own, thank you. Now, the PlayStation TV, from what I understand, can also get your PS4 games working on a different TV in the house where it's not hooked up to.
Yeah, you can do the remote play on with the PlayStation TV. So if you have a PlayStation 4 and you have the two of them connected, you can have your PlayStation 4 in the living room and your PlayStation TV in your bedroom, and you can just play whatever PlayStation 4 games you have in your living room in your bedroom. So it's for just based off of what it is and the fact that it accesses the entire PSN library, for $100, I guess 150 because I don't know if it comes with a controller or not. I haven't looked. But for $100, it's for access to, if you have an extensive PSN library, that's a great deal.
The one with the controller costs 140.
Okay, so 140 bucks, but I guess $100 is if you already have a PlayStation 4, because it requires the PlayStation 4 controller. You can't use the PlayStation 3 controller, unfortunately. have an extensive PSN library, but but something like that would be really cool because you could still I believe it has like the Netflix app and the Hulu Plus app and all that stuff. So
Netflix
that
is
could be
nice.
something.
Hulu sucks. I still don't like Hulu. I'm trying to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is the only thing on TV I'm watching, and since I don't have TV, I watch it through Hulu. And eventually it takes me an hour and a half to watch a 52-minute show because while Hulu has no problem loading the ads load flawlessly every single time. The show, on the other hand, nope. I'll sit through up to 120 seconds of commercials, and then the show will not load. And I'll have to and I'll refresh, and it'll load the commercials again, and I'll sit through I have to do that 5 to 7 times every single commercial break. I don't know if that's just my bad luck or if Hulu really sucks that hard.
Yeah, Hulu is pretty terrible. I have like when I try to watch a Hulu movie or show, it's like I'll watch it and it'll load up the first chunk just fine, and then it'll go to a commercial. The commercials will load just fine, and then once the commercials are over, all I get is a black screen. It's like it doesn't it doesn't turn the show back on. And
right, that's exactly what I'm experiencing too.
Yeah. And and it's like I have to refresh, and then I have to watch another commercial, and then it doesn't load the show up again, so I have to refresh again, watch another commercial. I think it's just a ploy to get people to watch as many commercials as possible.
I guess.
So that they maximize their ad revenue.
And what floors me is PlayStation Hulu Plus, the pay version of Hulu, still has ads.
Yes, exactly. It's like, sure, you get a bunch more shows, but you still have to watch all the stupid ads. But yeah, to go back to the PlayStation TV, Matthew here, he mentions that yes, you still have to use the Vita memory cards, which are a complete ripoff when you compare storage size versus price compared to like SD cards. And it only comes with an 8 gig one. So if you want to download a bunch of games, you're going to have to upgrade that and spend like $80 to buy a 64 gig card when you could go and spend $30 and get a 64 gig SD card. But yeah, it's if it had I think it would. I put down that I want one just because I think it would be cool to be able to have just something small that accesses the PSN library, but I think I would probably get one more quickly, or want one a little more if it used a standard storage medium instead, like an SD card rather than their crappy proprietary cards.
Yeah. Even the Wii U uses standard SD cards.
I know.
It's like do anything useful with them, but it doesn't.
Yeah, and it's like the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. You can put any off-the-shelf hard drive in there. Mm-hmm. So it's like why do they insist on doing this with their handhelds? It's it's terrible. The 3DS uses SD cards. So does the DSi. Yeah, it's like everybody uses standard storage mediums, including Sony, except when it comes to their handhelds and the PS Vita or the PlayStation TV. So it's like whatever.
Yeah. All right. So let us move on. And what? Oh yes, this topic will be fun. So, Hatred is a game, and it's about a guy who is very
hates the world,
who hates everything and who hates the entire world and everyone in it, and says, "By gum, I'm going to take this here full automatic gun thing and shoot everybody who's outside walking around." Until somebody shoots me. And it's basically, it's a third-person isometric shooter just you're an ass, and the people you're shooting are just innocent people going about their day. You've seen this game a million times. You've played this game a million times. Really, the only difference is the setting, who the protagonist is, and who you're shooting. So
it's just blatantly obvious, that the game is just there. You're just there to kill everything.
Yep.
There's no pretense about it.
Yeah, and I have to wonder, is there going to be any commentary on this type of psychopathic killer? Is there going to be any insight? Is there going to be any? Probably not. I think it's just hey, this will be controversial, and this will get us attention, and by gum, it did. It's actually looks pretty good from a visual aesthetic. It's got an interesting black and white art style with specks of color. Interestingly, not the blood. The blood is mostly black, but I thought it was like a
very dark red.
When the building signs are illuminated, with fluorescent lighting and there's some color. People are Matthew says people are upset because it removes the thin justification that games used to do mass murder.
Pretty much, yeah.
So the trailer, which is so on the nose, I was actually chuckling. It opens with some dude with really long, stringy black hair hanging over his face, in a black leather trench coat, stuffing guns and grenades in the same jacket pocket. He doesn't seem to put them anywhere else.
I know. It's like everything goes right here under his shoulder, and it's like. Where are you putting all of this stuff?
You must have a bag of holding.
A backpack worth of stuff right there.
I know, but it's narrated in movie trailer guy voice, and I took the liberty of writing down the open narration because I think this is really funny. So he says, "My name is not important. What is important is what I'm going to do. Feasting on its carcass. My whole life is just cold, bitter hatred. And I always wanted to die violently. This is the time of vengeance, and no life is worth saving. And I will put in the grave as many as I can. It's time for me to kill, and it's time for me to die. My genocide crusade begins here." I'm not kidding. It's read exactly like that. And I was actually chuckling to myself while I was watching that. And then it goes outside, and it's a third-person isometric, and there's people running around going, "Ah!" And you just mow them all down. And there's similar to Manhunt and other games like that. When you do it, the camera zooms in for headshots and knives to the face, and there's a kill cam, and it's definitely violent. It's definitely gory. Here's an interesting question though: if the ESRB rates this game, do you think this is an AO or if it's just an M-rated game?
That to me is a good question. Manhunt, like Manhunt 2 got an AO rating initially. And that was a game where you're killing people who are trying to kill you, but you're doing so extremely violently. With Hatred being a game about just killing innocent, civilians, repeatedly, that's basically the pretense of the game, or the whole point of the game. It could be very likely that it could get an AO rating if it went that route, if they decided to get an ESRB rating.
What's interesting is Manhunt 2 was rated AO for the depiction of violence.
Yeah.
As soon as the depictions of violence were softened through a filter, ESRB was like, okay, M stamp. This game is not that violent. I've seen much more gooey, gory games.
Yeah.
It's the black and white gives it that kind of almost documentary
Yeah,
look.
see the black and white could lead it more towards a stylistic violence, kind of like Mad World, but Mad World was a monochrome game rather
Pretty
than
much,
black
yeah.
and white. So the black and white could very well lead it towards a stylistic violence approach, and could lean it towards an M. And really, the trailer doesn't, other than the trailer depicts some of the action, but it's all isometric. I don't know how much of the game is going to focus on those close-up kills, like the one where the trailer would show like really close up, the guy shooting somebody's head off with a shotgun.
My guess is you mow people down, and if any of them are still moving, you approach them, and the little button pops up. Press this button, and then it cuts in for a little cinematic kill cam cutscene.
Possibly, yeah.
That would be my guess, but you're right.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time seeing the ESRB giving this an AO for violence, but I could see it giving it perhaps for theme, in which case there's really no way to censor this without changing who the protagonist is and or why he's doing what he's doing, which just because I don't like everything.
It's like if you were to replace all of the civilians with zombies, it'd be like every other zombie game in existence, but and that would get an M. But because it is unarmed civilians, I think that theme of just mowing down as many unarmed people as possible, definitely probably is what would lean it towards an AO if if they were to do it. But I don't.
Plenty of cops in the trailer who have guns, so.
Well, yeah, there are cops in there, but it seems like the cops are just as powerless. Based on the trailer, it seems like the cops are just as powerless as the rest of them.
The trailer did not put any focus on opposition. There were police officers who were armed, but you didn't really see the protagonist of the game getting shot at or having any difficulty. But again, trailer. Go ahead.
Go. No, you go ahead.
One of the criticisms I saw was that, of course, all of the victims were, women and minorities, which I thought to myself, I thought, really? I don't remember that. I wasn't really paying attention, so I went back through the trailer and I counted. And being black and white, it's kind of hard to tell in some cases, because there's one guy who's one of the victims is like in the shadow of a tree, so it's really difficult to judge his skin tone. But his hand is sticking out of the shadow, so I'm saying I think that's a black guy. But anyway, so from the kill cam inserts, the little cutscenes, we have a white girl civilian, an Asian girl civilian, a black guy civilian, another black guy civilian, a white guy cop, a white girl cop, and a black guy civilian. So it seems to be a pretty even mix, just judging by this trailer so far.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting if Hatred was one of the most diverse and inclusive games out there?
Yeah, that would be interesting. I didn't get the impression that it was focusing on minorities in any way.
Or any one particular group, no.
Or any one particular minority. It just seemed like, it's like, you go through, go to the mall and look at the diversity of people at the mall. That's basically what you have in the game. It's just that diversity. Sure you might hit a patch where there's more minorities in this one group of people around this one store or whatever, but you're not going to be there's a lot more people than just at this one store. So yeah, I don't think there's any issues with that. But something that I guess I don't know who brought this up, but in the trailer, it flashes the Epic Games Unreal Engine logo in there,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess Polygon asked Epic, it's like, hey, you guys know about this thing? And Epic, see. Was there any specific person? I guess it's just a response from Epic. It says, Epic Games isn't involved in this product. Unreal Engine 4 is available to the general public for use for any lawful purpose, and we explicitly don't exert any sort of creative control or censorship over projects. However, the video is using the trademarked Unreal Engine 4 logo without permission from Epic, and we've asked for the removal of our logo from all marketing associated with this product. So what do you think about that?
I think that the Unreal Engine has been used to make a lot of violent games. In fact, I browsed the Wikipedia list of games using Unreal Engines 1 through 4, and there are a lot of very violent games on there. I have to wonder how many people, it's like, oh my gosh, Epic Games is making this game. It's like, no, it just uses the Unreal Engine, or Unreal Engine 4. I figured that one of the terms of use of using the Unreal Engine 4 is you have to put that logo in any advertising for it. I figured that would be part of the terms of use, but I looked and I didn't see anything like that. So.
Yeah, that's I looked as well, and the only time you have to list anything about Unreal Engine is in the credits of the game. It's like they have specific wording that says that this game was made using Unreal Engine 4 by created by Epic Games.
Yeah, but I figured it was like the ESRB. If your game has an ESRB rating, you're required. I believe you're required to put it in the advertising materials.
Yeah, but And I can understand, but going back to this quote, it's like, they've asked for the removal of the logo, and I can see that, from the perspective that, they don't have the right to, they didn't ask permission, it's not required, they didn't have put the logo in the trailer, but I can understand why, the developers did that, because they want people to know that, hey, we're working with Unreal Engine 4. It's like, that. To me, it's just, that's probably why it's there. But and so, but the other reason that it could be done is because they don't want their name associated with the game.
Mm-hmm.
They saw the reaction to the game. They're like, we don't want our company associated with this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of negative reaction out there. Interestingly, it's most of the negative reaction I'm seeing, it's kind of hard to measure, but I'm seeing a lot of journalists writing articles going, this is too far. And most of the comments, I'm seeing some comments to the articles agreeing, but most of the comments are like, dude, it's a game. You run around shooting people all the time in games. The only difference here is your protagonist is just a horrible, horrible human being who's shooting innocent people. It reminds me of I forget who did it, but there was a game where it's basically a room or a series of interconnected rooms with a bunch of people running around, and you walk around and just shoot them. So it's a first-person shooter. That person made two copies of this game. One, the one at what I just described, and two, the same exact thing, only it was made clear that you're in a school shooting students. And the reaction to both, the reaction to one game was like, oh, it's just a stupid shooter, whatever. The reaction to the other game, which was the exact same thing, just they told you up front, this is a school and these are students. People, that's horrible, I would never play anything like this. So it's interesting how much changes just when you, point to something and give it a label. I mean, for example, you can draw a sexually explicit image on a piece of paper, and people go, ew. And then you go, 14, and people go, ah! Call the cops on this person! And it's the same exact drawing. Or, the other way, it's like, oh my God, call the cops on this person. No, 18. Oh, well, it's okay then. Same exact picture, but as long as I, this drawing is 18, which doesn't make any sense because it's a drawing, but whatever.
Yeah.
Good old games. The developer, Destructive Creations, behind Hatred, says we would really like to release a digital version through Steam and Good Old Games. Well, Good Old Games, GameSpot, no, who talked to them?
Yeah, GameSpot.
Yeah, it was GameStop. GameSpot. GOG told GameSpot, currently we are not in touch with the developers of Hatred. You know about our boutique approach, so in any case, before deciding on a release, we would review the game and give our feedback to the devs. So, Good Old Games is like, we're not opposed to it, we're not talking to them, we don't know. I get the sense Good Old Games is like, let's see how this shakes out before we commit one way or the other.
Well, like, Good Old Games themselves, they have Hotline Miami on their service, which is another game where it's a top-down shooter, but it's basically a guy going on a big killing spree and killing everybody. It's a little different, subtext to the killing. He's actually
mainly
going out
gangsters
for
and bad guys and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, he's going out for revenge against some bad guys and stuff, but he also kills civilians and stuff.
Do get in the way, right?
As well. But yeah, so it's another extremely violent game that Good Old Games has. So I guess whether or not they host Hatred on their store, it just all comes down to how the controversy shakes out, like you said.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I could see them outright refusing to host on their service.
Yeah.
And
so
they're not.
So I know you're not much into violent games, so this is probably not a game for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy the game, but I still haven't played Hotline Miami, which I got through the Humble Bundle, but it's just been kind of sitting there because I'm not sure if I actually want to play it. But
yeah,
but it's been on my to-play list, but it's pretty low on the list.
Yeah, I'd try it if I had a copy. I don't think I'd buy it. So far, it just looks like an isometric shooter, and that I need a little bit more than just wander around and shoot everything that moves. I do like the aesthetic. I like the look of the game. I think it's very striking. So
yeah, it's definitely a unique look, and it really uses the black and white with splashes of color, like the lights and everything. And he really uses that aesthetic really well, and so these guys definitely know how it's good. It's just all a matter of whether it plays good as well.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so next topic. Half-Life 3, which we spoke about a couple weeks ago. Everyone wants Half-Life 3 because Half-Life 2 was good and ended on a cliffhanger.
Which they could easily wrap up if they did Half-Life 2 Episode 3.
Which, yeah, because they had Half-Life 2 Episodes 1 and 2, and I think 2 was like 7 years ago. So Valve isn't, well, who knows what they're doing. But anyway, so there's a Kickstarter, I'm sorry, it's an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign to create a, the more money you give into, the more money they raise, the more they will pester Valve to make Half-Life 3. So if they raise $3,000, they will start a Google AdWord campaign that will target all employees of Valve with "We want Half-Life 3" messages. So if they Google their own names, they're going to get "We want Half-Life 3! Stop Googling yourself and get to work!" Raise $9,000, they'll get one of those trucks, those advertising trucks that carry a billboard on a flatbed saying, we want Half-Life 3, and just circle the building all day. If they raise $45,000, they will hire a bunch of Gabe Newell lookalikes to, I guess, flash mob Valve HQ. If they raise $150,000, they'll hold a concert near where Valve is, and that's that. Some people have jokingly referred to this as a marketing/harassment campaign. In fact, that's how we pitched it at Game Politics. I think that's fairly accurate since this is essentially just pestering Valve. I think Valve is fairly aware that there's demand for Half-Life 3. I don't know what good this is going to do. I mean, at best, Valve would just, poop in a box, stamp Half-Life 3 on it, and say, "Here, now shut the hell up. Leave us alone. We've got Steam boxes to make. We've got hats for Team Fortress 2 to model."
Matthew says that it's just the fact that they can't count to 3, so that's why they can't get past get past 2 on anything. You got Microsoft, Portal 2, you got Half-Life 2, Episode 2. it's like
Microsoft can't count either. I mean, they're like, "Hey, Windows 8, what's next? Windows 10." There's actually a reason for that, and it's pretty funny. There's very old legacy code that is not playing well. That if they call it Windows 9, that legacy code is going to screw stuff up. And apparently it's more complicated than just commenting it out or working around it.
Okay.
It's not our operating system is so much better, 9 just doesn't describe it, we've got to go straight to 10. No, it's legacy code from way back in Windows 3.5, Windows 98 days that if they actually call it Windows 9, that's what I've read anyway. So.
That's interesting. I guess maybe they have something that truncated Windows 98 to Windows 9, and that's what they based a lot of crap off of, and fixing that code is just too difficult to deal with.
So, do you think their suggestions for this, their different ploys are over the line? Do you think it actually gets into? It's certainly pestering, but do you think it's harassment?
I don't think so. They're not saying that they're going to get Gabe Newell's home address and pick at his house or anything. It's all based around the Valve HQ, which is more less of an invasion of privacy. It's more just like a protest would be. If somebody decided to protest Valve because they clubbed seals on the weekend, and so, then that would be perfectly acceptable. But yeah, so I don't think it's a harassment campaign. I think it's kind of cheesy and attention. They're just going for attention rather than anything meaningful.
Okay, so. I'm looking at the Indiegogo page now because I just thought, I wonder how much money they've raised. Would you like to guess how much money they've raised? $710.
Yep. This thing's been up for 4 days now, and they've gotten $710.
51 backers, $710. I don't think that one's going anywhere. I don't think.
Let's see. What was their lowest one? $3,000. Their AdWord campaign. Yeah, they'll probably hit their AdWord campaign
in the next month.
They've got a month to do it. The mobile billboard. That might be stretching it, but if they play their cards right, they could definitely hit that. But the lookalikes and the concert, no, they're not going to get that at all.
Yeah, Nestor says careful with those porn searches. Yeah, I can imagine, some poor Valve person just I'm trying to find some lesbian porn, but all I get are messages that say make Half-Life 3. It's not fair, damn it. And Matthew points out that the test version of Windows 10 has a keylogger in it. Yes, it does, and that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Hopefully that's just a test version thing that's being used to reproduce any bugs that people find.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan? Do you think a keylogger is going to be something sneaky that they keep in the full release?
Oh, if they put that in the full release, that's going to be one of the first things people look for, and if it's in there, then they're going to really not be happy, and Windows or Microsoft will probably introduce a day one patch, to get rid of it. But yeah, I can definitely understand why it's in there for the beta version, because shoot, even something simple, it's a huge pain in the butt to get people to describe how they created an error, and half the time they don't even know how they got the error. They forgot what they were doing when they got it and stuff. And so yeah, it's just being able to say click here to send Microsoft a report about this bug, and it includes everything they've done in the last half hour. That would definitely help them to recreate things.
Yeah. So, okay, let us move on to our final topic of the evening, unless you're on the other side of the pond, and then it's probably very early morning.
Yep.
Hi, Jesse. So, Nintendo, my favorite, because Nintendo's the best. Nintendo can do no wrong. Zachary, can you think of a single damn thing that Nintendo could even be remotely criticized for?
Let's see. Not releasing a Metroid game for the Wii U yet.
Samus is in Smash Brothers.
It's not the same. Bayonetta has Samus costumes. It's not the same.
Maybe Samus will be one of the downloadable characters in Mario Kart 8, and she'll have a little a cart based on her ship.
That would actually be cool. I would like that. And then have a level built around the planet where the Metroids are. That would be cool too, especially if one of the power-ups could be a Metroid that latches on to somebody and just kind of chews on their heads and slows them down.
Oh, get it off, get it off. Yep, that'd be cool. Yep, so Nintendo's flawless.
Yeah. But on a more serious note, I think forcing somebody to download an update and then not letting them use their Wii U until they agree to the new EULA, that would probably be worthy of criticism. What do you think?
I think that you could system to factory default after buying an external medium to save all of your game saves on, and then never connect to the internet again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
For those of you who don't know, the one of the latest updates for the Wii U firmware has an EULA on it that says you scroll to the bottom and it says agree. There's no other button. There's no disagree. There's just agree. And until you agree, you can't do anything.
Yep.
Shut the thing off and reset it. However, and you could do that. However, you would not be able to play most games because Nintendo games ship with the latest firmware on it. And if you have a Day one Wii U that has the 1.00 firmware on it, and you buy Mario Kart 8 or Smash Brothers Wii U, it's going to install the latest firmware before it lets you play the game. So not only would you, if you really don't like this EULA, not only do you have to reset your system back to default, but you wouldn't be able to connect to the internet, and you wouldn't be able to play most Nintendo games. Which, if you've been following the For Everything But Wii U list, is almost the only reason you have a Wii U.
Yeah.
You could probably play Watch Dogs on Wii U, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's fine.
Mm-hmm. But one of the things I will give Nintendo credit with this is that they got rid of the entire pretense that you have the ability to disagree with an EULA.
Yeah.
It's like when you install a PC game, there is a agree and a don't agree button, and the don't agree button just kills the installation process.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you actually want to play the game, you have to agree to everything in the EULA. You can't strike out any segment that you don't particularly like and suggest corrections.
Yeah, there's no bartering.
Changes. It's not a contract negotiation. It's here's the terms. If you want to play the game, you agree to it, or you or you lose your money because you can't get your money back after you buy a game, unfortunately. And so, Nintendo just got rid of the entire pretense. They said, this is exactly how it is. Agree. That's all you get to do.
The problem, however, is that creates a disturbing precedent where you spend hundreds of dollars on a product, and the company behind it at any point can say, we're going to completely change stuff, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, even though this is something you own. And you can't play with it anymore. I mean, there should be it's like, this is where I draw the line. I'm not updating anymore, so I'm happy with it the way it is. I will keep my PS3 backwards compatibility right where it is. Thank you very much. There's no ability to do that. Nestor, I'm not really sure exactly what this article was reported. A YouTube video who pointed this out. Look, agree or agree. I'm not sure what specifically he was objecting to in the EULA, or if it was just the principle of the thing that he couldn't object to it. Really, I've read the EULAs, and really the only thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way is the you can't sue us if you have a problem.
It's mandatory arbitration.
Right, that. Yeah. Which I don't care. I'm not really going to sue Nintendo. I can't think of anything Nintendo is going to do with its Wii U that's going to. I'm going to sue them because the ending to Zelda sucked.
Well, it's like you hold your Wii U in your lap and it fries your giblets. It's like I guess that could be a reason to sue them. But
okay. Why were you holding the Wii U in your lap? Imagination warm. Nestor also asks, seriously, how many people actually click the don't agree option? Well, nobody, because then you can't play the game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that just drives me nuts about EULAs. It's like, you have no control over it. It's like, and it doesn't matter. It's like, but the thing that really ticks me off is the fact that you can't go over the EULA before you avoid any chance of getting a refund. Right. Nintendo shows you this updated EULA after you downloaded and installed the update. They don't show it before you download and install the update. It's after it's all done and said. And with a PC game, you don't find out about the EULA until after you've opened up the box, which voids your ability to get a refund, and then start installing the game. It's like the fact that you can't review an EULA before anything like that happens is the thing that really me batty. And it's something that like the EFF, I forget what the acronym stands. Electronic Frontier Foundation. Yes, that's something they've advocated for, was changing up that so that people having posted publicly so that people can review them before deciding to purchase something, and but nobody has followed through with that, and which really sucks.
Yeah. So, like I said, Nintendo is flawless and beyond critique. So, but maybe there are some things that can be even better. Flawless plus is what they should strive for. So, okay, that's an hour, and hey, we're actually done. So let us plug our stuffs and get at it here. Andrew Eisen here. E-I-S-E-N is how you spell the last name, even though it makes no phonetic sense in America. I'm sure it makes plenty sense in Germany, because that's what the name is from, apparently. No, I don't speak German, save for a few curse words. I know curse words in lots of different languages. That's my clip. Anyway, so follow me on Twitter, @AndrewEisen. I'm on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/AndrewEisen. I'm on YouTube. Just type in Andrew Eisen. Facebook, Andrew Eisen YouTube. You'll find the page there. next Saturday is the Extra Life charity event, and I'm participating, doing a 24-hour marathon to raise money for the Rady Children's Hospital here in San Diego. So you can watch me on Twitch. You can donate to my Extra Life page, which you can find at extralife.org/participant/Andrew Eisen. There's a hyphen between extra and life, so extra-life.org. Please do. And watch the stream on Saturday. I'm also doing a stream Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for an hour or two. Hopefully it won't crash. I'm going to be using a new broadcaster, so fingers crossed. And, yeah, that's it. So, Zachary, plug away.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at EasyKnight, and you can also follow DK_gaming. That's for DivineKnightGaming.com. It's where I do all my game development stuff. And you can also check out the Oklahoma game development scene on Twitter at OKGameDevs, and it's okgamedev.com. And if you're interested in just my general gaming stuff, you can check out randomtower.com. So there you go.
All right. You've been listening to Super Podcast Action Committee, episode 119. You can follow us on Twitter at SuperPackPodcast, send us email at superpackpodcast@gmail.com, subscribe and rate us on iTunes, and like us on Facebook. We will be back next Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on GamePolitics.com. So join in the chat, and we'll have a new poll, something fun or heavy or something.
Yeah, or timely.
I need sleep, but I gotta play more Hyrule Warriors. I have to.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So, because I already cashed the check. so I have to finish. All right. Take care, everyone. See you next week.
See ya.